Greatest reserves of coal, which could replace oil. But coal has always been considered a so-called dirty fuel, bad for the environment. But now utilities are testing technology to try to make coal clean.
The U.S. consumes about 20 billion pounds of coal in a year, or 20 pounds per person per day. This coal is used to heat water, cook the foods we consume, and light the room we sit in. Coal generates nearly half the electricity in the United States and the world, but it also is the dirtiest fuel of all when it comes to CO2, the leading greenhouse gas. This is where the idea of clean coal technology comes into play. Clean coal technology is a technology designed to reduce these carbon emissions with major consequences for the environment and the economy. Here is a list of the following vocab words that will later be discussed. This is a diagram that depicts a traditional coal-fired plant. Not only carbon dioxide emissions are emitted, but also sulfur oxides and nitrogen oxides, and these are chemicals that lead to acid rain and smog. This is an example of a modernized coal plant. These plants are required to install limestone scrubbers on top of the smokestacks where they capture sulfur oxides and store them underground. Some plants also have low NOx burners, which burn the fuel in low oxygen environment, preventing nitrogen oxides from ever forming. However, these plants still emit carbon dioxide. However, the definition of clean coal technology is a plant that doesn't emit any carbon dioxide, but this doesn't exist yet. The most promising technology, however, is carbon capture and sequestration. This would capture carbon dioxide before it releases into the atmosphere and store it underground. If this works, it would reduce emissions by 85 to 95%. Although there is some hope for this technology, there is just as much hype on the subject as well. First off, carbon capture and sequestration is an extremely expensive process to operate and perform, and also environmental risks are unexpectedly high, and we could potentially have disastrous situations such as towns being destroyed due to gas seepage. There is also a concern that the carbon dioxide we are pumping under the ground will just leak back to the surface. So, what's the purpose of doing this in the first place? These are just some of the many reasons why our group feels that clean coal is not worth the cost. Clean coal is an oxymoron. Coal is one of the most polluting forms of energy from the mine to the stack. Clean coal is about shifting the problem around, not solving it. The issue of water and soil pollution does not go away when you mine it. The pollutants in the coal just end up somewhere else, and the carbon dioxide produces ends up in the groundwater. This can cause flooding elsewhere or form carbonic acid, which will eat away at limestone structure where it occurs. All in all, our group feels that clean coal is not cost efficient. Instead, there are many other efficient alternative energy solutions, such as biofuels from crops or algae, hydropower, or even solar or wind energy. As the wise words of Thomas Alva Edison once said, we are like tenant farmers chopping down the fence around our house for fuel when we should be using nature's inexhaustible sources of energy, sun, wind, and tide. I put my money on the sun and solar energy. What a source of power. I hope we don't have to wait until oil and coal run out before we tackle that.